Queen Tulsa merchandise. Hello, guys. We do have masks. It stops here by Queen Tulsa. Thank you all for supporting so much. We do have our masks that are adjustable. You can adjust the straps, adjust to your liking. I want to thank you so much, and we will be getting justice. And I want to thank you in advance for your purchase. And just remember to always have gratitude, always show gratitude. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out to the Queen Goddess Tulsa show. I'm your host, Queen Tulsa, and this is your midday hot topics. If you're a new subscriber, I want to thank you for subscribing. If you're a returning subscriber, I want to thank you for returning. All right, today is such a beautiful day. Okay, today is Tuesday, September the 20th. Okay, Tuesday, the second day into the week. All right, so let's go ahead and roll on over here to our first topic and story of the day. All right, Tiffany Haddish reaches settlement with accusers. It seems clear that Tiffany Haddish would like to put this case behind her, and according to a new report, there may be an end in sight. Haddish has been subjected to public scrutiny along with fellow comedian Aries Spears after they were named in a lawsuit. Two siblings took to the actors to court after alleging that when they were minors, 7 and 14 years old, they starred in separate comedy skits that they claim were inappropriate. One of the videos resurfaced online that shows Spears portraying a pedophile as he lusted after the 7-year-old boy. Both Haddish and Spears have spoken out about the case, calling it a shakedown. We previously reported that the siblings were edging closer to a settlement with Haddish, and now one has been reached. The, oh, Haddish's okay, so Haddish and her accusers worked out the deal privately. Adding a source, they have also blocked the public from seeing the original complaint. It was said to have been Haddish's decision to take this to federal court, where documents were sealed due to several photographs of a minor John in an undressed state. In court documents, the siblings recognized that Haddish was friends with their mother and alleged that Haddish would say she was taking the kids to auditions when in reality she was having them film skits that were sexually inappropriate. Details regarding the purported settlement have not been shared. It is unclear how this would affect Spears. Neither Haddish nor Spears has spoken out about this report at the time of this publication. So there was a settlement agreement. And so there you have it. And since we were in California, let's go ahead and stay there. Fresno, California, the last domino has fallen in a bizarre child sex abuse case involving a Fresno man, his wife, their girlfriend, and her young daughter. Brent Cox on Tuesday admitted to continuous sexual abuse of a child and 4 other felonies. Brent Cox is lined up to serve an 18-year prison sentence when a judge punishes him next month. But he avoided even harsher punishment because of the ongoing emotional damage that comes with his crime. Cox was part of a throuple with his wife, Jillian, and Tammy Schreiner. The threesome expanded to 4 when Schreiner let her 11-year-old daughter get sexually involved with Cox. Schreiner and Jillian Cox had both already admitted to their roles and were available as witnesses against Brent Cox. The 42-year-old dropped his defense for a deal where the judge said he'd likely send Cox to prison for 18 years. For all the crimes in this particular case, child abuse, dis- dissuading a witness, possession of a firearm, all these different factors, 18 years doesn't seem like a whole lot for all those different offenses, says legal analyst Tony Capozzi. The punishment could have been doubled because Cox had a prior felony strike, but the judge indicated he'd essentially ignore the strike at sentencing. Capozzi says there could be a couple reasons for that, starting with the fact that the felony strike, a 2000 arson conviction, was 22 years ago, and Cox had no felony since then. That might have been a factor too, since he's never been in trouble since then, and the fact that it would avoid the young girl having to come in and testify, Capozzi said. The deal also ensured Cox is never charged for a 2010 incident in Hayward. Police there investigated Cox on similar accusations from a 6-year-old female relative, but prosecutors never filed a case, and now the investigation will be closed. The recent victim's family members told Action News they're satisfied with the likely prison sentence and happy the girl can move on. Prosecutor Andrew Jans said he'll push for the maximum 40-year sentence for Cox, but ultimately the child's mental health was the most important consideration. This is one of those situations where she was traumatized for years, and she's doing better now, and we really don't want to have her relive those bad circumstances, Jan said. And we made this plea deal in conjunction with talking to the family. Cox will officially learn his punishment next month, and this part he didn't like. He'll get his sentence at the same time as the victim mother gets hers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that was your midday hot topic for today. We will go ahead and cover family files lawsuit against Sesame Place alleging racial discrimination. We all remember that, right? We need to actually check up on that to see how things are going in that. Okay. So here in Tulsa, here is your local news. Okay. All right, so this just came out. Man arrested after allegedly strangling woman in South Tulsa. A man has been arrested after strangling a woman inside an apartment before running, police say. Monday morning, officers were called to an apartment complex near 71st and Memorial for a check on well-being call. When police arrived, they heard a woman screaming from inside an apartment. Officers saw the woman in an upstairs window where she had torn down the blinds and was calling for help. Police kicked in the door and say they found the victim with red marks around her neck from being strangled. The victim identified the suspect as Armando Johnson and said he jumped out of a window and ran when he heard officers arrive. TPD set up a perimeter, and using a K9 unit and Tulsa police helicopter, Johnson was located and taken into custody. If you or someone you know is a victim of being affected by domestic violence, there are local resources available through DVIS. You can also call the National Domestic Violence Hotline number at 1-800-799-7233. Jewelry store owner arrested for allegedly stealing from customers. The Tulsa Police Department says they received multiple reports over the course of several months concerning stolen and missing jewelry. Victims say their jewelry would go missing after it had been dropped off at jewelry liquidation near 61st and Sheridan. In each case, police say victims would drop their jewelry off with Paul Williams, the owner of the store. Then several weeks would go by without any follow-up from the owner. Many victims note that they had made several attempts to check on the status of their jewelry or get it back, but had no luck with getting it in contact with the owner. The Financial Crimes Unit learned that jewelry liquidation had abruptly closed its doors for business, and everything in its store was gone. Detectives later learned that Williams retained thousands of dollars of jewelry under the assumption he would clean, repair, and appraise the jewelry, but had actually pawned it off for financial gain without consent of the customers. TPD received a total of 12 police reports that were alleged victims of Williams and jewelry liquidation. The victims are also said to have created a Facebook group called People Ripped Off by Paul Williams. On September 16th, Williams was arrested for 4 counts of embezzlement by employee, false declaration of ownership, and obtaining money under false pretenses. If anyone believes they were a victim of this crime, contact the Tulsa Police Financial Crimes Unit at 918-596-9209. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that was your midday hot topics here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, live and in the field. I am your host, Queen Tulsa, and that concurs our show for today. Thank you so much and enjoy. Queen Tulsa merchandise. Hello, guys. We do have masks. It stops here by Queen Tulsa. Thank you all for supporting so much. We do have our masks that are adjustable. You can adjust the straps, adjust to your liking. I want to thank you so much, and we will be getting justice. And I want to thank you in advance for your purchase. And just remember to always have gratitude.